Hey everyone! Yes, I am back on screen. I know, exciting, right? Welcome to Unicorn Dust Designs. Today I wanted to show you 8 picture frame upcycles. Picture frames are something we all have, so this should be a good video for you guys. So let's go ahead and get right into it. With it. I took this resin piggy that I made, and I'm gonna take this beautiful napkin. I laid it over my piece so I could see what part of the napkin I wanted to use. I'm going to cut just one of the squares off and then kind of play around with it. I did try the upcycle decoupage paper, but it was too thick and wouldn't form to it. I probably should have spritzed it with water first, but I was too far in, but I was able to peel it off. Now I'm using the napkin. So I'm going to peel the back off of the napkin. This is going to make my napkin thinner and it's going to form more easily to our pig. So I'm taking my liquid patina in clear, and this is a great decoupage medium. I'm going to lay that napkin over the top and I'm going to push it down with my paintbrush while it's still wet. And you can see how I'm able to push down on the outer part of this piggy and start seeing its little figure come to life. I'm pushing down in between the legs, and then I am going to let this dry. I do use my heat gun on this just to speed up the process. And then I'm going to take my finger sander and I'm going to sand in downward motions to get that excess paper off. And there was a little part on the nose. I just ended up putting a little piece of the napkin on there. Now, with the feet, all I did was cut the excess paper off. And then with my brush, I went up in between the legs and pushed it behind the resin mold. So now you can see the full piggy image. Now I'm going to take this frame. Y'all, this thing weighs 2.5 pounds. Yes, I weighed it. It is so heavy. I've had it in my stash for 2 years and we are finally using it. So I'm going to take Bohemian Blue to start off with a chippy brush. And I am going to stipple this around the outer frame. I'm not covering the entire frame. So I'm going to get those edges and go in. And y'all, I wanted to thank you guys so much for watching my videos and sticking around to these parts. So I wanted to gift one of my subscribers one of the 8-ounce sample sizes of Bohemian Blue. You need to be 18 and older, a US resident, and then you need to comment on this video and my last 2 videos to enter. So if you want it, and then I will put the gift details down in the description box on when I'm going to announce it and how. All right, so now that I got that outer layer, I'm going to take Salty Kiss. Y'all, I don't know why nobody buys this color because it's a gooder. I'm going to take my little dipper DIY brush. I am fully stocked on all of my brushes and all of my paints. I'm going to spritz this with water. Now I'm going to go in right where that Bohemian Blue starts, and I'm going to start stippling over. See, right where the line of the blue is, that's where I'm starting that Salty Kiss, that green color. And you can see how it starts blending right away. Now you can see I'm not moving into the inner frame yet. We are going to keep that for the brighter green. So this is our blending. I spritz it with some more water. And then again, I'm just taking that brush and I'm going where the blue and the green are going to meet, making sure to wipe off my brush before I dip it back into that Salty Kiss so I'm not mixing my colors. Then I completely wiped it off on a paper towel and I got Salty Kiss and I'm putting it on the inside of the frame. That way it was like the Bohemian Blue, the blend of the two, and then the Salty Kiss, which gets brighter as you go in towards the frame. And y'all, this is something that I stepped out of my comfort zone. I was inspired by Debbie's design diary and her blending techniques. And then I was also inspired by somebody on Facebook. And I was like, how can I make this my own? Am I perfect with blending? No, I am not. Have I done something this bright like this before? No, I haven't. But you know what? It was a $2 picture frame. If I didn't like it, guess what? I could wash this whole thing off because my paints are water soluble. But you know what? I dig this. It is so, look at this. Let's have a moment of silence for how beautiful it is. Okay, we're back. So I wanted the option of somebody purchasing this, and maybe if that pig wasn't their thing, they can take this out and they could still use it as a picture frame. So I did not want to attach the pig to the glass part of this frame. So I'm going to take the cardboard insert that came into it. I'm going to take liquid sunshine and I'm going to give this 2 coats. Now the second coat, I'm going to do the stippling because I don't want to see brush strokes in it. And I love the way this color turned out. The napkin had like these bright blues, greens, and yellows, and I wanted to tie all of that in using the frame. So after I'm done with this cardboard, I am going to pop everything back into the frame. So I'm going to put the cardboard in first, the glass piece, and then the backer. This was like a super nice frame. Oh my gosh. And now I was checking the outer edges. I wanted to make sure that I covered everything that would show so it didn't look messy. Then I turned it back around and now I'm going to clean the back up. Again, DIY paints are water soluble, so you could easily clean it up. I did attach the pig with the Quick and Thick Titebond. Now I'm taking the clear DIY wax and I'm going to coat this entire piece. This is going to be our sealer. It's going to dry down a bit lighter as well. And then you can use Big Top. You can do this however you want. But I hope this inspires you, you guys, to step out of your comfort zone. It does not have to be perfect. You can make mistakes. But you guys, what if it did turn out fabulous? And guess what? All those mistakes you make, you learn from them. So I love this. This is one of those pieces where I am very proud of how it turned out, and it inspired me to like want to do more and more. And now I'm like, oh, I want to blend a dresser. I want to blend this. So I hope you love it. Comment down below with a piggy if you enjoyed watching this process and how it came out. Again, it might not be for everybody, but that's okay because I love it. Now, frames, art. These are easy flips, easy resells. I'm sure tons of you have these old cherubs in your home. And they're coming back. Okay, everything comes back, y'all. So an easy way to update this, the mat in here was beautiful. It was clean. I am going to take Bohemian Blue, which is like this beautiful, dark, tealish, how do you describe it? I don't know. It's Bohemian Blue. And I'm going to do my messy coat as I usually do. And then I'm also going to come back in for a second coat and stipple that on. I don't need to put any painter's tape on here because I can easily scrape it off with a razor or use water since DIY paints are water soluble. So I'm going to dry that down. You could see how beautiful it dries down. I love this color for so many reasons. Now I do go in with that second coat and I just stipple it on. I'm going to take that razor blade and I'm going to scrape any of the paint that is on the glass away. And now I'm going to grab a baby wipe. We're going to wet distress on all of the details, which weren't that much. So it was nice and it was subtle and it brought that gold around the mat back out. So once I am done doing that, I am going to grab my clear wax. Now, when you're using DIY paints that are highly pigmented like red, black, this one, for example, Bohemian Blue, the paint is going to transfer onto your wax brush. So keep that in mind because it's not going to be a brush you'll want to reuse. You're going to have to wash that out. So I am going to clear the entire frame and that's it. It's a very easy flip, but it brings it back to 2023. Okay. And the bohemian blue brought out the beautiful blue combo that was in the piece of art. The gold brought out the gold in the matte, and that bohemian blue against the white matte just totally pops. And I'm in love with this. I think it's for this one, you guys, I was not about to let that custom paint go bad. So what I did with it was I grabbed a frame, I grabbed some salt wash. I'm gonna mix some salt wash in there. Now this DIY is inspired by Sweet Yellow House. If you have not seen her channel, I'm gonna leave her linked down in the description box. If you love IOD and DIY products, you are going to love her. This woman is beyond talented, and what she comes up with is so inspiring. So this DIY is inspired by her. So I'm going to coat the frame, just a rough coat at first to get some coverage and make sure that I get all my outer and inner frame. Now I'm taking that salt wash with a chippy brush and I'm going to stipple that on. I want to get texture, but I'm not doing a lot of the texture. I want it to look more like cement or stone. So I'm trying to get that into all of those details. I get the outer frame as well. And then after this, I'm going to grab DIY's clear wax. This wax is so buttery smooth, y'all, and it lasts forever. Okay, what movie is that from? Comment if you know. And I'm going to take that all around our frame. Now I'm going to grab the black wax. Now, Sweet Yellow House, she mixes her black wax with clear wax, which I should have done. I didn't do that. I had maybe a little bit of clear wax in there, but she puts the black wax into her details to create a shadow effect. And I wish I would have added the clear wax because I think I would have gotten a different result. However, I still do love how it came out. Then she goes back in with her clear wax and she buffs that wax, that black wax out, so it's gonna look more like a shadow effect versus when we put the wax all over and wipe it back. I was trusting the process. I knew I didn't do it exactly like her. And then after we were done buffing that in, my girl from Sweet Yellow House, she loves her some gold, okay? And you guys know I do, so we could be best friends. I'm going to take that gilded gold wax. This is also a DIY product, and I'm going to put that on all the raised surfaces, and I put a little bit around the outer and inner frame, and this is how it turned out. Is that not gorgeous? You see the texture from the salt wash, and then the black wax in the details really does look like a shadow, and I love it. It doesn't look exactly like hers, but you know what? It'll get there. I just need to practice a little bit more throughout the video. I'm going to take this frame I got at Salvation Army for $2.99, and it had a very flat surface. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to add that salt wash texture to it. So I'm going to take our original custom color. I'm going to stipple this on. It's going to almost look like cow print when we are done with it. Excuse me, you guys. But you just have to trust the process and let it happen. I think that's my hardest thing when painting or like, you know, going into doing furniture is that like I'm a control freak and I want it to look perfect. And I feel like letting go of that notion is helping me a lot more now. So I mixed some more mermaid tail into our original color and a little bit more salt wash. I am going to take that first layer that we put down, that is still wet, and it is okay if it mixes into the layer that we're putting on now. But you can see the color is very close to the first color that we put on, and this color looks absolutely brilliant when it is dry. So we are going to go ahead and cover that up. And you guys, as crafters, I feel like we should always be learning and trying, and that is what I am doing here, and I'm just taking you on the journey with me. All right, now that it is dry, we're going to do some more experimenting. So I am taking liquid sunshine. I'm going to mix it with white swan. I love the vibrancy of liquid sunshine, but it was just a little too bold for me. So this is going to dull it down. Look, it almost looks like mustard. And I'm going to spritz a section of the frame. I'm going to dab off some of the excess of that paint off my brush, and then I am going to go on top of our dry, well, it's not dry, we misted water on it, but you can see that I'm going in circular motions up and down, side to side, and I am just blending that into the color that is underneath. And if you guys want like a slower tutorial on this, let me know. Like I said, I am learning as I go, and I know the more that I do this, the better I'll be able to explain it to you guys. So just bear with me as we are having fun with this. Now I'm taking a paper towel and I'm going to dab the excess off. So it's just going to pick up a little bit of that yellow, as you can see, and it's going to start showing the different layers of paint that are on there and all the different colors. So I just wanted to show you one more time. We spritz it. We put a small amount of paint on our brush. You could always add more if you need to. And then we are going to be going in all different directions, up, down. We're going in circular. We're going to like feather that out to the corners, and then we take that paper towel once again and we dab the excess off. And you could also wait and let it dry and then go in with like a baby wipe and wet distress, or even a sanding block if you choose to as well. Once this is completely dry, I grab this scraper tool. I actually think it's a weeding tool from Cricut, but it does the job. And I'm going to scrape some of that texture off to reveal that original like brown color that the frame was, just to give it a little bit more distressing. We are going to finish this off with the DIY clear wax. This is how I finished the urn off in the beginning of the video as well. And you can see it's going to darken up our color. And when you see the reveal video, I took that right after I was done with this. So when you give your wax 24 hours to dry, it will lighten up just a bit. And because DIY paints are water soluble, I am able to wipe up my back and make it look nice and pretty once again. And look how fun this turned out. I just popped some recycled decoupage paper in here, and I love it. I love the color combo. I love the texture, and this gives me hope for possibly doing like a furniture piece like this. So I hope it inspires you guys to have more fun with like your paint colors and your textures as well. For those of you that are new to my channel, I do have all of the products that I use available on my website, unicorndustdesigns.com, and I always have that link down in the description box. I have everything from the paints, molds, decoupage papers, those napkin bundles that I referenced in the beginning. And I also have things like thrift finds. I sell some of the upcycles that I do for the videos as well. So definitely save that on your browser and check it out. There's definitely a little bit of everything on there. Okay, back to the DIYs. Next one, unfortunately, did not have a link to a creator. So I do not know the original creator, but I knew that I wanted to recreate this. So I am going to take one of these frames, and you guys, I'm actually using this stuff. I'm thrifting. Pat on the back for me. And I'm going to use the DIY paint product Painterly in Extra Electra. At least that's what I think it is. In these little sample containers I got from the warehouse, they didn't have names on them, so I'm guessing here. So after cleaning the frame, I get my chippy brush and I am dipping it into that Extra Electra. Now these are very, very pigmented, and it only takes a little bit on your brush to go a very long way. So with this paint job, I am not trying to get into all of those nooks and crannies. I just want it sitting on top of the frame. I still want some of that gold to peek through. And then what I'm gonna do is mimic that same paint job on the opposite corner of the frame. Now, as I am going outwards to meet like the plain gold part, I'm going to lightly feather that paint out so that I can more easily blend it with our next color. Now, I don't know how they created the other one, but my thought was I'm going to use shipwrecked wax and let's see how it goes. So I do load up the brush quite a bit. And again, I am just putting it on top and then around the edges. I'm not trying to like get into all of the details on the sides. And then I am going to take my paper towel and I am going to wipe the excess of that off. Now, using the wax made it so easy to transition into that Electra color because I was able to just kind of like dust it on. So now I'm just taking a dry chip brush and I'm kind of buffing that wax out so it looks almost like blurred, I guess you could say. And I dust it as well into that Electra where like the two meets to make it look like a smoother transition. Then I take just a little bit of that shipwrecked and I'm going to go on top of that Electra. This is also going to seal that paint color. So we're not going to have to go on top of it with clear wax or any of that stuff. That paint color will be sealed by that shipwrecked wax. I'm going to do the same thing for the upper corner. And then to finish it off, I'm going to take Golden Rule. And this is where it, I channeled my inner Debbie here once again and just went with it. And this turned out so good. I definitely want to try this again. And this is where I say that like trying things on smaller pieces could lead to you learning more about things. Like, like if I have a big giant mirror or something, I would totally do this paint technique with the wax on something like that because it turned out gorgeous. I popped in some Roy decoupage paper and bam. Obviously, right when I saw this booklet of transfers, I remembered this picture frame that I thrifted and I knew it was going to be perfect with these transfers. So I am going to take out the glass piece. I'm trying to figure out which green I want to use with this. And I think gypsy green is going to be the best because we're also going to darken it up with some wax. So I'm going to take my frame and I am going to just take a chippy brush and we are going to stipple on one layer of the gypsy green. This dries down to be absolutely gorgeous. And you guys, this frame, let me tell you, when we put the wax on, you are going to see just how much this goes with the transfer. So after it dries down, I'm going to apply one coat of DIY clear wax, and then I'm going to go on top of that with DIY's dark wax. You can find all of my paint products on my website, unicorndustdesigns.com. And then I am going to grab a paper towel and we are going to wipe back that dark wax because all I want it to do is sit in all of those beautiful details so they pop out at you. And if you guys cannot see all those beautiful vines, and I think they're grapes, but we'll say berries. Oh my goodness. And hi, my name is Sammy. If you're new to my channel, I have an obsession with gold wax and I think everything Christmas related needs it on it. So I am going to put the gold wax on all of the leaves and the little vines that are attached to them. I'm going to get the I'm going to grab my cardstock. This is just brown cardstock. I'm going to trace out the glass panel here, cut that out, and then you guys, what you've been waiting for, this IOD transfer. You guys, They are so easy to use. You can literally stick them on any surface. I am just sticking this straight onto the cardstock. I did not prep the paper with anything. I'm going to take the little scraper tool that it comes with, and I am going to start pushing down on my carrier sheet, and then I will start lifting that up, as you will see. And this literally took no time at all. And the details in these transfers always blow my mind. Okay, we're gonna pop that baby back in. I'm not gonna put the glass in just for camera purposes, but when it's listed on my website, the glass will come with it. And check this out. Oh my gosh, this makes me so like the most perfect frame for this Fairy Mary transfer. And look at how absolutely gorgeous those details are. It is so absolutely whimsical. I love it. Let me know down in the comments what you think of that usable item. All right, for this one, we are going to use I think it's verdigris mold. I have not used this one. It's part of the new, the spring line of IOD. I'm dusting the mold with cornstarch, and then again, I'm going to be using the DOS air dry clay. And oh my gosh, working with these bigger molds, they always stress me out because I'm like, I always like pull up the clay as I'm like trying to push it in. So it takes me a hot minute, but I get there, okay? Now I'm going to take this frame that I thrifted from Salvation Army for $3.99. I'm going to apply that Tight Bond Quick and Thick on the back, and then grab a paintbrush and make sure that I have that glue on every inch of this mold. I also make sure to wipe off the excess because I do not want that glue gushing out from underneath. I'm going to lay that on my frame, and you can see it has curves. So I'm going to push that down, not putting tons of pressure because I don't want to lose those details, but enough to make it form to the frame. I make a second one of the same exact mold, and I am going to create two pieces out of it. I wanted it to cascade up, and I wanted a little bit more down below. So we'll just grab the Quick and Thick again and put it on the top and put it on the bottom. Again, pressing to make sure that it forms to that frame. And then taking the little individual leaves that come in this mold, I thought it needed a little bit more right here on the corner. So I added 2 more. Okay, so now we're gonna mix our paint. Again, we're painting while that mold is wet. I'm gonna take letterpress, and I mixed it with White Swan, you guys, because at first I thought I wanted it darker, then I wanted it lighter. If you do like this color, just use Gravel Road. It's essentially the same color as what I created. And I'm going to put my salt wash in here. I'm going to go ahead and kind of paint that on using like brush strokes. And then sometimes I'm going to stipple in different sections, just giving it different textures all around the frame. Now, when I get to the mold, I am still stippling like around it, but once I get on top of it, I'm actually going to switch my paintbrush to a smaller one and essentially kind of like just paint on that salt wash mixture. I didn't want to stipple it on because I didn't want to lose any of the details in my wet mold. So this allowed me to get the coverage without having to push down. Now that it's dry, I am going to clear it with liquid patina, and I'm doing this because I wanted to use a darker wax, so I wanted to ensure that I can easily wipe off any excess that I wanted to. Once that's dry, I'm going to take black wax and clear wax. I learned this from, I think it's Trisha from Yellow House, Sweet Yellow House. Yellow House. You guys know. I think you know. Sorry if I messed that up. And I'm going to mix the two together. This helps move that black wax a little bit more. I wasn't fully committed to just using the black wax. So you can see I'm brushing that around, more so the like outer frame, the inner frame, and then whatever is left on that brush, I am going to put on the like inside frame. Once I move to our mold, I'm going to put a heavier coat on the mold. And then once I get it where I want, then I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm going to wipe the excess off. And that's going to settle into all of the details. Now, once I put that black wax on, I was like, oh, I kind of want this a little brighter. So I grabbed the white wax and I just kind of rubbed that on the top. That way, it was kind of like a bright highlight on top of the mold, and then all of those dark shadows are in the like crevices of the mold. And this turned out absolutely stunning. This is so beautiful. Again, a lot of the things in this video I feel like are more like pieces of art. I had fun, I was being creative, and I was just, doing whatever my heart desires. So I hope that it inspired you today, you guys.
Take one of these old frames that I just got at a garage sale, and I'm going to take the crockery color. Now, with these paints having in the built-in top coat, you have to stir it. When you open it, you'll probably see some separation of the paint. That is completely normal. Just stir your paint and you are good to go. We in this video are going to play around with the paint, try different things like, waxes, and I'm going to give you my opinion on it. So I'm going to take the little dipper brush and I'm going to put 2 coats of paint on this frame. Now, using this paint, you're going to find that it's a lot thinner than the DIY paints, and that's because it does not have clay in it. So you'll probably notice that you have to do a couple coats. It also is a, what do you call it? Like a satiny sheen. That's what you're going to see. It's not going to be matte like the DIY colors. So there are a lot of differences in the cottage colors versus the DIY paints, and we'll just kind of go over those little differences as we go through the video. So this is how it looks with 2 coats. So you'll see on the left side, once I lay it down, it's darker. The cottage colors, unlike the DIY colors, they dry down darker. And you guys know, if you've used the DIY paints, they dry down lighter than they look when they're wet. So you can totally see the difference here on the right side, how much brighter the paint looks, but it will dry down to be a little darker. So that's what it looks like when it's completely dry. Now I'm going to take my dark wax. I just wanted to see how it would work with the paint itself. Now, since it has a built-in top coat, it literally, like, I don't know how to, it's slick. That's what I'll say. It's slick. It's just like if you use DIY paint or Waverly paint, put a like polyacrylic on top and then applied the wax. It was just like very slick and it was very easy to wipe back. It didn't stick to the paint. And I didn't have to put any clear wax on it prior. So you'll see I have a paper towel and this is wiping right off. It still darkens the paint. It still sticks into all the details like I need it to, but it didn't cling to the paint since it is not matte. So I wiped all of that excess off. I buffed out a lot of it in the details, but I still left a lot of it in there so that you could see the details pop. Then I went to Canva and I just got one of their images. I thought it was really pretty and I just cut it down to size and popped that in the frame. I actually really like how stark white that image is against the frame, but this is how crockery looks with some dark wax on it. If you are a neutral girl and guy, then you are going to love this color and want it in your.
Hey everyone, it has been a minute since I hopped on. The last time I hopped on, it was pretty chaotic, but baby and I are home. We were lucky enough that she got to go home. What was that? Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So she was only in the NICU for 4 days and we were able to bring her home. She's doing so good. I'll put in a little clip after this of her. And I'm doing great too. The first 2 weeks were pretty, he wants in the limelight too. Were pretty difficult, but I'm healing really well. I'm able to like move around now. The experience was very traumatic, but you know what? I got a healthy baby at the end of it, so nothing I cannot overcome. But thank you guys for all of the kind messages and the support. Thank you for everybody that surprised us with gifts as we came home and went to the PO box and stuff. We are so very grateful, and thank you to those of you that are watching my content. I know that I'm not putting out brand new content right this moment, so I appreciate you guys, my OGs that have seen this before and are just watching it to support me. Thank you so very much. I do plan on coming out with new content this Friday, I believe it is, this coming Friday, and then possibly Tuesday. I don't know. Don't hold me to it, okay? But what's today? Today's Saturday. Oh gosh, you guys, I'm so off. Okay, so I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Thank you guys for supporting us, like I said before, and I'm going to insert a clip of Mickey. Hey, mommy's taking video of you, and then you turn your head. Oh, you're so tired.
Gotta eat, girl. Oh, my shoulder's always out here.
Yeah.
I'll fix it later.
You're so little.
Oh, where you going?
Oh, goodness, and strong. Look at how beautiful she is. She's growing so good and eating. She's perfect.